Welcome to session 2 that focuses on the work of Auguste Comte. Now, Comte was born in 1798 and he died in 1857. Now, there are two things I'll be mainly concerned here. The biography, which is detailed so much in the slides for you to take, so I will not talk about that. So you have to read that to know his background and context. But I'll be concerned about his ideas, concepts, and his views about society and how societies move and how society should be studied and all that. Now, Comte's view is to create a science of society. And we said earlier he wanted to call it social physics. He moved on to sociology and all that. Now, Comte focused on some basic concepts. He urged that sociology should study two main aspects of society, that's social statics and social dynamics. Now, by social statics, he was referring to those things that exist in society, those institutions and structures that hold society together so that there is social stability, social order, and harmony. But Comte was so conscious of the idea that society is never always stable. Therefore, he also introduced the concept social dynamics to refer to those forces that may change society or tear apart society so that we begin to see society being transformed from one stage to the other. Now, Comte also held the view that the principles, the methods that the natural sciences follow, like physics, you remember he wanted to call sociology physics, those principles could also be used in studying society. And so he came out with the concept positivism. And I say positivism is just the application of the methods of the natural sciences to the study of our social world, or what we call sociology. So for Comte, the only true knowledge or valid knowledge can only come through the scientific method, so that we talk about science being based on empiricism, that is empirical reality, objective, and all that. Science generate valid knowledge about our world in that way. So if you have difficulty pronouncing the word positivism, you can just say scientific stage or scientific level. So if Comte conceived of sociology as also capable of discovering laws, but in this case social laws, then he tried to demonstrate that through his own work. Because of this idea that sociology could develop law, social law, and observing France and Europe at the context, in the context that we are talking about, that Europe was once a traditional society, it was moving or had moved to the modern or positivistic stage. Then Comte came out with the law of 3 stages, through which, according to him, societies evolve. Now, the first stage he calls the theological stage. The second stage is the metaphysical stage. And then the final stage is the positivistic stage. Now, from what I've described in the first session, that European societies were once dominated by religion, superstition, and all that. And then they moved to the period of Renaissance, then Enlightenment. Then they left that period also and entered the scientific, or what Comte to say, the positivistic stage. For Comte, this is a social law that actually is available for all societies to follow. Europe, for example, just started that journey. So all societies in Comte's view were destined to follow these 3 stages. Now, in the theological stage, the word theology means something religion, which I'm sure you know. It means that our actions, our thinkings, our thoughts, our way of doing things were highly religious, superstitious, and all that. So society moved from that stage. In Europe, I have already alluded to the fact that they were once under religion, but Renaissance came and Enlightenment came, and then the scientific stage. So society moved from theological to metaphysics, physical stage, and then also to positivistic stage. So at the theological stage, people had beliefs based on the religion, God, that, for example, if it will rain today or you survive today is by the word of God. And so everything was based on that kind of thinking. But like perhaps what we do in Africa today, particularly Ghana, we have this idea that if we are survived today is by the grace of God, or if anything should happen to us, it's through divine intervention and all that. But during this stage too, was a stage of beliefs in witchcrafts and devils. So for example, in Europe at the time, they could always attribute occurrences or misfortunes to the work of devils and witches. That was standard there. But they were moving away from that session. So now they came into the metaphysical stage. The metaphysical stage is a stage where philosophical explanations rule. So remember I said they moved from Renaissance to Enlightenment. So that is the brief period between theological stage and the scientific stage. So the metaphysical stage is just a preparatory ground for science to ensue. So once science ensues, Europeans enter the modern scientific stage with all their technological developments and all that. So this is the law of three stages that Comte believed that all societies were going to pass through. So that is a law for the social scientists, or particular sociology, to believe in and all that. Now, since the final stage is the scientific stage, and he calls it the positivistic stage, now what actually is the key issue? The key issue here is that that stage is where scientific ideas will predominate. So even the methods of observing society should be based on observation. So systematic observation of phenomena. And he even proposed that sociologists should do experimentation. These are the attributes of science: physics, chemistry, and biology. They are doing systematic observation, experimentation, and all that. Then he also called for historical comparative analysis. What he means by that is that whenever we are studying society and social phenomena, we should be able to relate to history and also compare it with other societies, that is in other contexts, so that we come out with scientific knowledge and all that. So basically what Comte was trying to say is that we should move away from religion. We should move into science. And that is how the law of three stages was going to unfold. So if you look at his ideas, I think Europe or the advanced countries actually are a manifestation of these stages. In Europe, there was religion, superstition, belief in devils, witchcraft. Then they celebrated the reasoning powers of humanity. That is the Enlightenment, Renaissance. And then they move categorically into the scientific. And that is what Europeans, Americans used to dominate the world. So the mobile phones you are holding, the computers you are using, these are the gadgets or the manifestations of that scientific revolution. So if you look at Comte's law of three stages, you should be able to shed light on your own societal transformation. Currently, in Africa, we are passing through these kind of stages, but then somebody will say that we are still at the theological stage. Why? Because of the strong belief in witchcraft, devils, and the idea that anything that comes our way is through divine intervention. So it's like we want to move to the scientific stage, but then maybe we are blocking our minds. That kind of enlightenment that should come to us, the belief in science and technology to transform our society, that capability, that mental activity that we should all engage in, we are pushing it aside. And even though we go to university, sometimes our colleagues are in the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. They are supposed, for example, to develop science. And out of that science, those scientific ideas that they acquire or develop, they should use those ideas to create material things that we call technology, to move the society forward. But here we are. Even right now, KNUST is moving from its mandate. It's now opening up to the humanities, law, sociology, and all that. So you see that the task that, for example, Nkrumah gave it when Nkrumah established that university, they are circumventing that task. No wonder that the whole society today is so religious. It's so religious. So we are not moving into the scientific stage. And even today, most of the pastors, they help us to entrench these kind of theological ideas in our minds. So if Comte were alive today, he would describe Ghanaian society, and I trust you agree with me that we are at the theological stage. Even policy makers cannot make policies. They always say, oh, unless God intervene and all that. But this is not how a modern society should think. People in modern society don't think that way. They think in terms of science, what the brain can do. And that is the secret of the domination of the Western world over all of us. So Comte's idea, in a way, we can use it to explain our circumstances. So basically, Comte was saying that the human mind was also fictive, religious. Thinking about society were based on religion. Fiction was based on the devils and all that. But then we are now moving into a modern society. So sociology for him is the last of the sciences to develop. He talks about the hierarchy of the sciences. What he means by this is that when we look at the development of the sciences, we see that astronomy developed first, mathematics follow, physics follow, chemistry follow, biology. Now you see that these subjects are not about human beings. They are aspects of the environment. Okay, physics is dealing with natural laws, biology is dealing with the plants, animals, and all that. But the last science to develop is sociology. That is where man has decided that he will have a science for himself and his society. So that's what he means by the hierarchy of the sciences. That sociology will crown it all, and it will be the most complex subjects that ever developed. So basically, what I urge you to do is to run through his ideas in terms of what sociology should study, how they should study society, and then here he was laying emphasis on observation, experimentation, and the comparative historical method. So with this, Comte has had a vision that his new science that he was proposing for society will have a lot of contribution to make, just like physics, chemistry, and biology have done of his age, and they are doing up to today. And I'll say that, in a sense, Comte's idea are valid, because no matter the struggle today, the difficulties we are passing through, we can also acknowledge that our society is moving away from traditional, religious, and moving to a world that we call modern. The process is very difficult because of certain cultural and social practices that we all encounter. But then, just imagine or visualize a situation where we say Ghana or Africa is in about 200 years to come. Certainly, a lot of the things we consider based on religion and others will all be wiped out. And we also embrace science as the developed countries have done. Thank you.